From the dust of the Broken Relic steps forth the first Bulgarian. His name is Kuaidul Velgir. Oh, and Phaser uses a card that literally swaps out yourself for another duelist, mid-duel. Yeah, things are heating up. Hello everyone and welcome to Dueling with Downton. Today we're talking all things episode 75 of the Yugioh Go Rush anime series. An episode that reveals the main antagonist's plan, while also making the finals of this tournament more negatively impactful if Yudias, our protagonist, wins. Let's get into it. So starting off, we're talking about the side team, as this team is themed around finding Otis. So, as we know, Mutaba Town was one massive spaceship, so Yuhi concludes that both the spaceship and Otis have a connection. And going off this, Otis must also be the creator, thus the person who created Kuaidul, and all the other Bulgarians that appeared afterwards. So if they find Otis, then maybe they have a way of stopping Kuaidul's plan or learning of his weakness. Because let's be honest, it seems like Kuaidul has been trapped within the relic, only to be released properly when Yuhi sliced it in two. Now, my question is Otis even alive? Because the creation of Mutaba Town and an entire race should have taken centuries to have formed. This would have meant that Otis would have gone so far back in the past, way further back than Yugioh did. So if our search team do find the main control operating room of this ship, I can definitely see one of two things happening. Firstly, Otis will be a hologram, and this would be kind of reminiscent of how we first met him in the first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. Or the second possibility could be that we actually meet M-chan. You know, the mysterious purple-haired girl that we've been seeing everywhere throughout the series, and it's revealed that she is a descendant of Otis. That'd be pretty cool. So now, if I'm understanding this correctly, Kuaidul has been using Yudias throughout the whole series as his pawn in order to create a champion that is loved and admired by all. So that once Yudias wins this tournament, with the powers of darkness, everyone will become Kuaidul's pawns, thus turning everyone into cards/monsters and ruling over the world in his own image. Yudias is this hero of the universe, a beacon of light for many that will lead the world into deeper darkness, instead of the light that the public believes that he will bring them. So, okay, the whole carding people thing was just a test for Kuaidul, as he wanted to perfect his plan, while the darkness possession and the control of Phaser was a way to him experience controlling other people. Right? And speaking of Phaser, I really did like his speech about how he knows what it's like to feel like he's in control, while someone else is actually manipulating yourself. We saw this throughout the whole entire arc that was surrounded by Phaser and Maximus. And he does believe that Yudias can overcome this sort of situation and not use Darkness Dwarf. However, Yudias just completely flat out ignores him, and to me, that was rather funny. So earlier I mentioned that Phaser used a card that swapped out the duelist. This card was called Interstellar Change. It allowed both players to draw up to 5 cards, and if all cards drawn are monsters, then the attack is negated, and you switch out yourself for another duelist. Now this card is crazy with that effect, and I can see it being only used in the specific circumstances. I don't think it'll get a real life release. If it does, then most likely it'll be a promo card that can't be used in any decks, and just something that collectors will have in their collection. But I want to talk about the 2 duelists specifically affected and used with this card, those being Yugioh and Phaser, because both duelists have been affected by both the creator and its creation in Kuaidul. So having these 2 characters step up to the thought of the mastermind while trying to save Yudias makes a bit of poetic sense, as both Phaser and Yugioh have been freed from their specific darkness thanks to Yudias. It's great seeing both Phaser and Yugioh teaming up, plus it allows us for a more realistic reason as to why Yugioh was even in this tournament, as well as explaining what he was doing while everything else was happening with the whole Park situation and, the build-up to this tournament. It seems like they were hatching a plan together. Also, when Yugioh found out that he and other Bulgarians were created by the creator, he was the one who fell into darkness. And this is referenced in the episode as the group believed something similar happened to Kuaidul when he found out he was just a creation. Now, what emotion did Yudias use to ultimately save and bring Yugioh out of the darkness? Well, that was love. And what little bundle of currently scared joy is currently racing towards Yudias now? A Park. A character that Yudias loves and cares for, and wants to bring joy to. And in turn, I feel like a Park does feel the same way toward Yudias, just not in an overly romantic sense, because that would be weird. But then, at the same time, it would be awesome if we see a Park be the one to actually free Yudias. Admittedly, this duel does possibly mean that the final round dream duel Yuhi wanted against Yudias is now not possible. It's slightly if Yugioh used the same trap card, Interstellar Change, and swaps himself out with Yuhi, but then that would seem like a cop-out because it would be tainted by all this other, interference. But on the topic of Yuhi, it was good seeing how smart and level-headed Yuhi was during this whole ordeal, making a plan and taking command to ensure that they can stop Kuaidul on all fronts. Now, at the start of the series, if you had asked me who I thought the more mature and level-headed, planning type of character out of our three protagonists would be, I would have confidently have said Yuonu. But now, with Yuki's character doing all of this, it does help to show off his continued maturity and character growth, as we can look at other examples of Yuki acting in a mature manner. Now, we know that Yuki loves to duel. This has been a constant throughout the series so far. And we know that he does want to get his win over Yugioh back. And this tournament gave him a choice. Help your sister or duel Yugioh. And he chose to save his sister, thus keeping that promise and showcasing that thought of level-headedness and that maturity. So I quite like that from Yuhi. Now, in terms of Kuaidul's character, he does give off similar vibes to other antagonists from previous Yu-Gi-Oh! Shows. For example, Zone. Zone wanted to use the image of Yusei to rally and influence a group of other people, much like how Kuaidul is trying to manipulate the aliens, with Yudias being his beacon. Design-wise, I really thought that his design complemented the character greatly, and I like the similarities yet differences this character has when you compare him to both Yudias in design and personality. We've seen this crystal that appears in the background whenever a character gets possessed, and I love the fact that we actually saw the character of Kuaidul wearing the exact same pendant. So yeah, all around, I think his design was a great choice. Now, I do have a question regarding him though. I understand that he was the prototype of Bulgarian, but did he create Yudias himself, thus allowing him to have the ability to possess Yudias and talk through Yudias? Or is it that he can possess and talk through anyone who is influenced by the power of darkness like Yudias currently is? Again, it bothered me a little bit, so if you know and understood it a bit more, let me know in the comments. And speaking of Yudias, I like how he was upset and confused about Yuki's actions as he went against that dream of his that he told him in where Yuki wanted to duel Yudias in the finals, which Yudias was genuinely excited to do. However, this duel that we've got with him and Phaser at the minute, or now I should say Yugioh, it started off like he had forgotten his original reason for entering the tournament. And that reason was to show a Park how fun dueling can be. But he's instantly using the very monster that caused the Park to be scared of Yudias in the first place. So come on Yudias, what are you doing? overall, this was a really enjoyable episode, and I've loved how they've been building up to these conclusion. There are some things that are still a little bit confusing, so hopefully we get a little bit more clarity and information on them in the next episode. And if I had to give a negative about this episode in general, it would be that we've seen Manya 0 times in this arc, apart from within a flashback. And to me, that's criminal. Like, where is she? Is she shooting another movie? Just tell us if she is. So anyways, let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And if I've missed anything or got anything wrong, please enlighten me. I'll be grateful. Other than that, I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, hit that like button, comment your thoughts, subscribe for more things Yu-Gi-Oh related, and of course I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Alligator matane. Goodbye.